Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Okay. Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
Yeah.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Here I am. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the office. Welcome to my home. And welcome to the morning grind. So good to see everybody. I hope you're having a good morning. I was up. I was working on NaNoWriMo. We will take a look at that this morning. But my sleep is becoming biphasic again. I'm getting into the biphasic sleep again. Woke up, was writing early this morning for 2 hours, then went back and got some more sleep. And so here I am. I didn't get all 1,600, in fact, didn't get anywhere close to 1,667 words today. So I got to do more work writing today, but got to get it done as well as a million other things that there, for some reason, I don't know what happened there. Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Phaser Wrist. Good morning, Sable and Zero the Blade and PH. Good morning, everybody. I thought we would talk about the Warhammer Old World. Keith Crow put in the Ravenkeep Discord server a first look at the Warhammer Old World rule set, which I've been meaning to keep track of, and I haven't. So I thought we should return to some gaming and see what's going on with the reemergence of Warhammer: The Old World. Good morning, Zero the Blade. Did I say good morning? Let's see. PH says, Heath, have you seen the new Mid-Journey feature? You can create your own style and even mix different styles from other people. I have not. I wonder if something about that's going to be up on my YouTube feed soon, because I haven't seen that. So that's, the style, the consistency in style is something that Brian and I were talking about and have been talking about. And of course, he's really big on that. So I'll have to see if we can do that, because it would be nice. It would be nice to be able to, for the purposes of illustrating a book, be able to be sure that you have a consistent style and consistent characters. Those are two things that are really needed. Good morning, Dungeon Master. Good morning, Dungeon Master and Robert. Good morning. Hi, Twincast. Good morning. Good to see you. Welcome. Well, Dungeon Master says, I've been waiting for this RPG. Is this the one where you can die during character creation? No, this isn't an RPG. This one is, my understanding is, it's a return to Games Workshop, their fantasy battle games. Now, my brother and I played a lot of Warhammer fantasy battle games when we were a kid. I had a Bretonnia army. He had a High Elf army. He also did a little bit of a Skaven army. So we all had this. Has Games Workshop given up on the Sigmarines? Surely not. Well, I don't know if they're giving up or not, or if they're returned. This seems like a great time to re-release and come back to Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Because it drove everybody away. I mean, we're like, oh well, then let's not worry about it then. So let's see. So first of all, last night I had a conversation with my friend Brian Colin. Here, deep conversations in the Geekverse. I turned it private here on this channel, and so over here, so that would be under the live tab. Brian Colin, he is the creator of the Vast Grim RPG. He also does creature curation. So he did the World of Revelo. He is super productive and is doing a lot of stuff. So here we go. Let's see. Table Talk right here. So if you are over there, good morning, Andrew. Good morning. And you haven't seen that, we talked for a little over an hour. It was a fantastic discussion. We talked about all kinds of things, including all of his projects and some of the AI art stuff. And then Tuesday, people want to know, look, I'm in advance. So next Tuesday, we're talking about Arcane. And I did watch the first Arcane episode last night. People were talking about that after I got off the live stream with Brian. Since it was not a 3 or 5 hour table talk, I did watch the very first episode of Arcane, and I'm going to keep going with it. Brianna and Doug are both huge Arcane fans. I know a lot of people around here are huge on Arcane. So I had never seen it before. So 4 days, if you haven't seen it or you want to rewatch it before the discussion on Arcane, check it out here. Here is the link to the Arcane discussion. Click that if you want to. Click that if you want to know. And then click that notify me button, and then you'll know when we go live for our Arcane discussion over on the Table Talk channel. Let's see. I have no idea. Is Age of Sigmar actually selling well? Seems like I never hear anything about them except people dunking on Sigmarines. Yeah, I don't know anyone who plays it. Not as well as 40K, but better than Warhammer Fantasy. Well, I guess that's what they needed then, right? So I suppose. Twincast says, since Total War got them a lot of Warhammer Fantasy fans right as they killed the setting. Since Total War got them a lot of Warhammer Fantasy fans right as they killed the setting and the system. Yeah, see, Sable is also huge on Arcane. Arcane is among the finest television shows I've ever seen, right up there with things like Babylon 5. So I'm finally getting to go through it. Jason says, I watched a Warhammer game on YouTube the other day. They played the sci-fi versions, but there's a fantasy version also. When I looked into it, I saw getting the pieces was a little pricey. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it sure is. Twincast says, and GW are bafflingly drawing hard lines between the Old World and the AS. Oh, really? They are? Okay, so then also over here, the Trial of St Gabriel. This is my next story up. This is the dark story of the Christmas Massacre. If you, I I might try to write a little bit more in the back of this, because I realized when I was laying this out that I have a little bit more of a page count. So we will see. Maybe put an RPG element into it. Maybe not. We will see. But if you are looking for something on the dark story of the Christmas Massacre, we're doing I do Angels and Rabbits. Angels and Rabbits. So I was able to get the rabbits out this year with Goodnight Sword. This time I'm doing the Trial of St Gabriel, which is not technically in the world of Theophany, which will tell the story of the fall of Satan, but it is very related. So Andrew says, I'm not in a Warhammer chat says, I'm in a Warhammer chat on WhatsApp, and I understand maybe 5% of what is posted. It looks great, but it goes very deep. Yeah, I mean, it seems like if I were to get into Warhammer right now, of course, my brother and I did, what was the name of the game that we started? And I've got that army sitting over there from Mantic. Oh, Kings of War. Kings of War. So we started doing Kings of War. I like that because I didn't have to have individual models. I like basing up entire units. But, and I had a whole bunch of miniatures laying around. So I just played with whatever miniatures I had laying around. And I still have tons of miniatures laying around. But if I were really getting into it, I think I'd be printing again. Sable Phoenix says, yeah, I'm not going to lay down $120 or more for one unit of models or even a single model when you can get a whole lance of mechs or battle droids for $40. Let's see. Then over here, okay, so everybody doing well with NaNoWriMo? Look, it tells me that James over here, I can see in my buddy column over here, 3,400 to 50,000 words. Michelle is also doing well over here, 3,265 of 50,000 words. What is this inner one? I don't know what the difference between the inner and the outer ring is. I am at 4,237 words, although the first ones were easy because I was using the short story am using the short story of the Trial of St Gabriel as a outline, because that's basically done. It is done. Let's go ahead and layout to see if I can turn it into a screenplay. So I'm a NaNoWriMo rebel this year. So I'm going to try to see if I can how far I can get into that. But I also I've got to work on the outline for the Rabavania story again, and then start putting it into script format. So I'm Heath R over here if you are also NaNoWriMoing and want to connect over there. Or there is the NaNoWriMo chat on the Ravenkeep Discord. Oh, James says, I think the inner ring is the daily goal and the outer ring is the overall completion. Oh, well, that probably makes sense. All right, so that is going on. Inner Light says, I have to say, GW has been hateful enough to their player base to not reinvest in anything they're making. Oh, really? I don't know anything about that. I'm working on some fantasy army rules that will be compatible with Buy This Axe. Twincast says, for example, you can proxy new Age of Sigmar Seraphons, but you're supposed to use the old Lizardmen. Skaven are currently still 100% the same in both, but there's a rumor about new ones for AOS next year. Interesting. Did I call it Battle Droid? What did I say? Inner Light says, I haven't even started my novel other than getting some world building and outlining done. No time. I've been at my new job for just over 2 weeks now. Congratulations on the new job. Let's go over to iBooks. Let's do our reading this morning from the War of Art. We are now on Invoking the Muse. Oh, PH says, the new Midjourney feature I saw on Future Tech Pilot. The video is called Best Midjourney Feature Ever, and the thumbnail was written Crazy Update. Let me see about that. That sounds like something I need to look at after the show here. Future Tech Pilot Best Future Tech Pilot Best Mid-Journey Update. Okay, found it. Okay, it just came out yesterday. So, all right, got it. Thank you. I will check that out after the show. Battletech was originally Battle Droids until FAS got sued over the word droids by Lucasfilm. Okay, let's go over here to get our drink. Get our drink ready. Here, I got mine ready. Got Diet Mountain Dew this morning. So, all right, let's breathe and sip. Let's take 2 deep breaths in and then exhale completely and then take a sip of our favorite beverage this morning. So here we go. And sip. There we go. All right, I think actually Invoking the Muse, I think we read yesterday. Yeah, we did that one. Invoking the Muse Part 2. Invoking the Muse Part 2. Before I met Paul, I had never heard of the Muses. He enlightened me. This is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Before I met Paul, I never heard of the Muses. He enlightened me. But the Muses were 9 sisters, daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne, which means memory. Their names are Clio, Erato, Thala, Terpsichore, Calliope, Polyhymnia, Euterope, Melpomene, and Urania. Their job is to inspire artists. Each muse is responsible for a different art. There's a neighborhood in New Orleans where the streets are named after the muses. I once lived there and had no idea. I thought they were just weird names. Here's Socrates in Plato's Phaedrus on the noble effect of heaven-sent madness. The third type of possession and madness is possession by the muses. When this sizzles upon a gentle and virgin soul, it rouses it to be inspired expression in lyric or other sort of poetry, and glorifies countless deeds of the heroes of old for the instructions of posterity. But if a man comes to the door of poetry untouched by the madness of the muses, believing that technique alone will make him a good poet, he and his sane companions never reach perfection, but are utterly eclipsed by the performances of the inspired madmen. The performances of the inspired madmen. We'll highlight that. The Greek way of apprehending the mystery was to personify it. The ancients sensed powerful primordial forces in the world. To make them approachable, they gave them human faces. They called them Zeus, Apollo, Aphrodite. American Indians felt the same mystery, but rendered it in animalistic forms: bear teacher, hawk messenger, coyote trickster. Our ancestors were keenly cognizant of the forces and energies whose seat was not in this material sphere, but in a loftier, more mysterious one. What did they believe about this higher reality? First, they believed that death did not exist there. The gods were immortal. The gods, though not unlike humans, were infinitely more powerful. To defy their will is futile. To act toward heaven with pride is to call down calamity. Time and space display an altered existence in this higher dimension. The gods travel swift as thought, and they can tell the future, some of them, although the playwright Agathon tells us, this alone is denied to gods, the power to undo the past. Yet the mortals can play tricks with time, as we ourselves are sometimes in dreams and visions. The universe, the Greeks believe, was not indifferent. The gods take an interest in human affairs and intercede for good or ill in our design. The contemporary view is that all this is charming but preposterous. Is it? Then I answer this. Where did Hamlet come from? Where did the Parthenon come from? Where did nude descending a staircase come from? This is Sable says, this is Pressfield saying you can't just have craft. Yeah, that's interesting. You can't just have craft. That's exactly what he's saying right here. I like that. That is what he's saying. I just want to point out before we keep going. Let's see. James Bankett says, this is where I think Olin Butler has a leg up on Pressfield. Butler believes creativity is internal, not external. I tend to agree. I don't know. Do you think that's an important distinction? I mean, at this level, I think Pressfield, because Pressfield was talking about however you want to internalize, because he even said that when he talks about muses and stuff, you could even talk about talent. That if you wanted to make it, didn't he say that at the very beginning? He said not to get caught up on the names. He uses muses and stuff, but someplace, oh yeah, he talks about angels in the abstract. If the extra dimensionality doesn't sit well with you in any form, think of it as talent programmed into our genes by evolution. So he said that when on the chapter about angels in the abstract. Either way it works, whatever you're talking about with muses or angels, he says if extra dimensionality doesn't sit well with you in any form, think of it as talent programmed into our genes by evolution. So if you want to go that direction, internal with it, I think Pressfield's okay with it. All right. And also, I just want to point out that the greatest extent of the Roman Empire was 5 million square kilometers, which it reached its largest expanse under Emperor Trajan, 98 to 117, encompassing 5 million square kilometers. So we need to compare that to the Persian Empire at some time. But so 5 million square kilometers. How many miles is that? $1 million. Google tells me it's 1,935,510 square miles. So that's a good. So for those of us who use miles, 1.9 million square miles. So if anyone ever asks you how large the Roman Empire was at its greatest extent, 1.9 million square miles, roughly, under the Emperor Trajan. Okay, now we know. Let's go check out the Old World. Okay, Warhammer, the Old World. Thank you to Keith Crow on the Discord server for pointing this out. So this came out a few days ago, but let's see what if we like the way this is going or how it's going at all. The Old World Almanac, your first look at the rules. Has anybody else been over this already? I mean, some people might have seen it in the Discord server and looked at it. The bassinets have been polished, the arrows fletched, the desert dust blown out all of the crevices, and Warhammer, the Old World, is nearing release in early 2024. Okay, so 2024 is when this is coming out. As the Warhammer Design Studio unrolls, can I increase the size of this at all? As the Warhammer Design Studio unrolls the last of the green flock, it's time for us to take a longer look at the actual rules of the game in a new series of articles in the run-up to release. Today, the Old World Almanac looks at the basic structure of the game and the main phase, the strategy phase. Game structure. Warhammer, the Old World, is a new game designed from the ground up to simulate large regiments meeting in combat as volleys of arrows and artillery shots soar overhead, and cavalry, wizards, heroes, and monsters crash into combat all around them. That's not to say it hasn't taken plenty of inspiration from what has come before, including several popular editions of Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Much of the complexity has been kept, and particularly regarding morale, added, but a lot of thought has been put into the structure of the phases, in particular when units and characters might use their abilities. The turn sequence. The strategy phase. During the strategy phase, the active player attempts to cast enchantment or hex spells and makes use of certain special rules before attempting to rally any fleeing units. Oh, so that's a good way to look at it. Twincast says, I know that Rome at its largest was roughly as big as contemporaneous China, but I don't remember how close they were. The movement phase. The movement phase starts with the declaration of charges and charge reactions, then the movement of charging units. After this comes compulsory movement. Finally, any remaining movement is carried out, and conveyance spells are cast. So we had, enchantment and hex spells are cast up in the strategy phase. Conveyance spells are cast in the movement phase. Oh, so there are different spells to cast all the time. Because during the shooting phase, the active player shoots with those units in their army armed with missile weapons, with their war machines, and attempts to cast magic missile and magic vortex spells. The combat phase. During this phase, units fight in deadly hand-to-hand melee, and wizards attempt to fend off their attackers with assailment spells. Units that have lost combat may be driven back or become broken and flee. At the end of this phase, once all combat has been resolved, the active player's turn ends. Warhammer The Old World is a game of rounds and turns. Each game is broken down into a number of rounds. During each round, both players will take a turn, each of which is broken down into 4 main phases: the strategy phase, the movement phase, the shooting phase, and the combat phase. Finally, every phase is broken down into 4 steps called sub-phases. The strategy phase. We begin the start turn sub-phase, which is when certain units perform special actions or take tests. These aren't common, and their details will be clearly stated in the rules. For example, stone trolls would test their stupidity tests at this juncture, as well as night goblin fanatics are placed on the table. Additionally, a particular scenario may require you to check whether a victory condition has been met at this point. You may use this period to tidy up the table, remove stray casualties, and errant dice. Sable says, having never played any version of Warhammer, I won't be able to tell what the changes are in this. Well, it's been a long time since I played Warhammer. We always had phases like that. But I do remember, for instance, that there was a magic phase. The magic phase was at the end. And so you would cast all of your spells during the magic phase. I guess this actually makes... I guess what they're doing is saying, well, you've got different spells that behave differently. Sometimes like something with movements. Sometimes has something to do with movement. Sometimes acting as a missile weapon. Sometimes acting something like a melee attack. And so those particular types of spells should be cast during those phases. Probably allowing the wizard to be more flexible then. The wizard would act during those phases, I guess is what's going on. That's the first big thing that I've seen. It's been a long time since I played. The second sub-phase is more exciting, command. This is when most characters' special rules fire off. For instance, a Bretonnian lord brandishing the falcon horn of Fedimund may blow in the command sub-phase, hopefully preventing opponents from being able to fly. For example, an enchanted item, the falcon horn of Fredimund. This ancient horn was used by the Grail companion, Duke Fredimund of Aquitaine. When blown, it emits a piercing cry, and the skies become filled with flocks of hunting birds. During the command sub-phase of their turn, if they are not engaged in combat, this character may attempt to use the falcon horn of Fredimund by making a leadership test, using their own unmodified leadership. If this test is passed, until the start of your next turn sub-phase, enemy units cannot use Fly X special rule. Maybe that's like fly distance. So you have to make an unmodified leadership test for this item. I think I remember there being a horn like that for Bretonnia. Where would Warhammer be without magic? Well, magic can be very devastating. We actually tended to play without it. You'll note there is no magic phase in the game. That's what I was just talking about. There's no magic phase in the game. Instead, magic powers and spells are cast during relevant phases. Hand of Mork or Gork is a conveyance spell, which means it's cast during the movement phase, for instance. I don't remember that in Warhammer in Fantasy Battles. Sable says, I've seen it played. I know that at least in 40K, you have to roll a dice to successfully charge for some reason. You can't just move and charge. I've played 40K once, and that was a while back ago, too. James says, it's been literally decades since I played, and it was mostly my brother who played. I just painted his models and read the lore. I loosely knew the phases of the time, but not now. Twincast says, magic spells in the old world work like psychic powers did in 40K 3rd through 6th edition. Okay. I don't remember any of that. Yeah, that's definitely different. Magic was its own phase. The spread across phases, I mean. The exact casting rules might differ. So that's something that's brought in from Warhammer 40K. However, the third step of the strategy phase is conjuration, which is when you cast enchantments, magical boosts for your allies, or hexes, magical penalties for your enemies. Players take it in turns during this step. Players take it in turns during this step to choose wizards who aren't fleeing and attempting to cast spells. The Tomb Kings, for instance, might choose to cast Jaff's incantation of cursed blades from the lore of Nehekara. What's a casting value? We'll go into more detail on magic during another article. So the lore of Nehekara, Jaff's incantation of cursed blades. As the Lich Priest utters this ancient mantra, the weapons of the Nekharan warriors gathered about them become imbued with the essence of Jaff, the jackal-headed god of the dead who hungers for the living souls above all else. Type enchantment, casting value 7+, range self. Effect until your next start of turn subphase, any friendly unit that has the Nekharan undead special rule and is within the caster's command range may reroll to hit rolls of a natural 1. The final step in this phase is the rally fleeing troops. This is when the active player must attempt to rally all of their units who are fleeing. Kings of War does not have this. My brother liked that. They didn't have all your guys running away. I kind of missed that. But my brother said that he liked, in Kings of War, your units are either up or they're down. To take a rally test, choose a unit and roll 2 dice against its leadership characteristic. If you fail, it will continue to flee during your movement phase. If you pass, your unit is allowed to free reform, move, and return to the fray. I liked having guys running away that you could rally. I like the look of a dynamic battlefield. I actually want there to be more press. So you get momentum going and you're actually changing the battlefield. I think that was something with Sigmar that I was noticing that I didn't like. Because it seems like if you get all of your miniatures and you just end up all mashed together on the table, like I don't want everything to just end up in a big model mash in the middle of the table. If some people are charging, then they may carry units in their direction, or the other unit may stop them and push back. I want there to be some dynamism to the battlefield that you don't necessarily have control over. So to me, fleeing is part of that. That okay, they ran away, but they could rally before they leave the table. We'll have more on morale in a later article too, but please do bear in mind that if your unit is under half strength, it gets a -1 modifier to its leadership when attempting to rally. Under 25%, you need a natural +1. And they could potentially get in the way. Like that was potentially that, like, oh my God, I'm trying to move this unit over here, and they got in the way. Something got in the way. Nehekara is the way it's supposed to be. Nehekara. Twincast says, roll to charge a random distance was introduced in Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition and 40K 7th edition alongside measuring distances before charging. Okay. So it used to be, right, yeah, I remember not being able to measure distances. So you had to declare a charge. Of course, there was no roll to charge. But that meant that you might miss your charge if you misestimated your distance. Now you can measure freely. Right. But there's going to be a roll for your charge distance, and so you may not make it. That's why that exists. Oh, that's not a lot. There's a lot more to clue you in on for Warhammer The Old World in the coming months. We'll be tackling the rest of the phases, plus rules for magic, morale, psychology, and other matters. And we'll also be taking a closer look at the factions, the setting, the models, and the future of the game, only here on WarhammerCommunity.com. Well, if you see another one posted here, let me know. We'll take a look at it. I was actually hoping that there would be more here, but that's okay. Sometimes there are other things to do this morning anyway. Let me show you a couple things that I got. Let me take that down. It seems like I got a bunch of stuff in yesterday, some of which we're going to take a look at here on the morning grind. First of all, I did get Punching Babies in, the hard copy. Punching Babies, Stomping Kittens. So I'm going to mark these up, and physical copy as well, and use them to take notes on. While my manuscript is up on my computer, I will now have physical copies of the books to take a look at. I also got this in here. So you want to be a game master. So this is a preview proof copy of this. Does anyone follow Justin Alexander on YouTube? This is, a serious honking book. It says everything you need to start your tabletop adventure for Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, and other systems. This is a mega book here. I'm stacking up the amount of paper. Like I'm doing a terrible job getting paper read, and I'm stacking it up so much faster than I can actually read it. So this is a gigantic book. We're going to be talking with Justin Alexander on Table Talk next Thursday, so in just under a week. So he wrote this book, and we're going to be taking a look at it. We'll take a look at it on Thursday and see what's in it. So we kind of preview it. We'll do that on Thursday morning for the morning grind, and then we will talk to the author that night. So that's coming up on the morning grind. And then also, I almost looked at these this morning, but I wasn't quite ready because I got all this crap on my desk still. And this is a physical thing to look at. These right here, I posted a link on the Discord server about someone who's doing some really amazing expansions. Basically, he's calling them Hero Quest 2nd Edition kind of expansions here for for our original Hero Quest. These are all this is a giant stack of armory cards. Armory cards, and that's not even all of them over here. Like, this is also more stack of armory cards that he's created. I love the look. We're going to take a look at these maybe tomorrow, but like double, it says double axe, and he's got that's like what your equipment is. So he's got the number of attack dice, where you can attack with it, whether it's a one-handed weapon and things like that. These, I really like them. These are pretty nice stuff. Silk hood that does different things. So I'm really excited about these. I've got these. These are all armory decks. It's like this huge stack of cards. But then also, I don't even know what this is, but we've got cards that are called like Artificer's Guild here. Well, that one happens to be a mithril dagger. So we'll have to take a look at these and see what all these are, because I got this gigantic stack of cards over here to expand Hero Quest with. So James says, "Oh, awesome! Is this going to be a Kickstarter, or is it being traditionally published independently?" No, it's crowdfunding. It's on BackerKit. It's being crowdfunded through BackerKit right now. I'm going to have to look for the link. I don't have it right now because I wasn't prepared, but it is in the Discord server. I might have posted that under the general board games. General board games. Oh, yeah, I did. Actually, I got the link right here. So I'll just go ahead and put it over right here. I just dropped that in the... It's right here. Advanced Armory 2nd Edition, now funding on BackerKit. So that's what it is. So check that out. Check that out. We'll look at him maybe tomorrow. I want to make sure I let him know in advance when we're about to take a look at his cards. But man, he's made a ton of these things, and they look really high quality over here to me. So we will take a look at those. And maybe tomorrow, but soon, certainly while he is still on Backer Kit. Oh, you got the Villain's Journey in? But it's damaged. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. If you've got a Kohl's nearby, there should be an Amazon counter in the store that can handle returns. Huh. Kickstarter, that's a way different website. Yeah, so this is, I mean, it's similar, but Backer Kit. Brian and I were talking about the different ways that all the different proliferation of crowdfunding sites. Let's see. All right. Well, all right. I guess that's it. So there's a lot to be done today. So that was kind of short, but I want to take a look at that. I want to follow the old world. I need some good rules for. Now I'm sure that won't be open source. I need some good rules for battles like that in order to do battles in Rabivania and Theophany. I would love to be able to do battles in both, but that's down the road. But I need some good set of rules that I really like to do that with. All right, later. I am out of here. Everybody have a wonderful day. Go forth, be creative, be constructive. Finish your NaNoWriMo words today if you are doing NaNoWriMo. I will talk with you later. See you in the morning. Later, everybody.